$5 a day doesn't build a retirement fund. It builds a completely different version of your life, and most people never find out why. Absolutely beneath you. Completely embarrassing. Like telling someone your gym routine is blinking. That belief is exactly backwards. One decade of $5 days, started today, beats what most people save across their entire working lives. The whole thing. Here's what actually happens year by year from the moment you tap confirm on a $5 automatic transfer. No charts. Just your life moving forward. Year 1. You open the app after 12 months. You put in $1,825. The market threw in about $90 on top. Your total sits around $1,900. You could have made more selling a used couch and 3 lamps on a Saturday afternoon on Facebook Marketplace. You stare at the number. You do the math in your head. You think, this is either a long game or the world's slowest practical joke. This is the dropout zone. Most people quit right here, not because the math failed them, but because $90 didn't feel like a destiny. What the number isn't showing you is what's happening underneath it. The account isn't just sitting there. It's learning how to grow. Every dollar in there is now working a second job. It earns a return. That return earns a return. Then that return earns a return on the return. It goes. You didn't feel any of that in year 1 because the return on $90 is roughly the price of a mediocre airport sandwich. But the structure is set. Surviving year 1 without quitting is the entire skill the next 39 years get built on. That's not a pep talk. That's mechanics. Before the boring years wrap up, you need to understand what the final number actually is. Because when you first see it, it will mean absolutely nothing to you. $5 a day, 40 years, 7% average annual returns. 7% is roughly what the stock market has averaged historically. Lands at $524,000. You read it. You nodded. You felt absolutely nothing. Completely normal, and also a massive problem. Now reach into your pocket and pull out $5. That's a cold brew, a breakfast sandwich, about a third of a Chipotle bowl if you're anywhere near New York. The drink is real. You can taste it. $524,000 is a number on a web page that could be describing literally anything. The gap between how real those two things feel is the entire reason most people never start. Not math, not willpower, just feeling. So instead of staring at the destination, you're going to watch the journey move in real time. Because year 5 is where it actually starts getting interesting. Year 5. Your balance crosses $10,000. You put in $9,125 of that yourself. The account threw in over $900 completely on its own. $900 showed up in your account, and you did nothing extra to get it. No side hustle, no overtime. The money just quietly made more money. 10,000 also happens to be the first number most people describe as real money. Below it feels like savings. Above it feels like something shifted. Here's the specific moment that hits differently. 1/4's gains, just 3 months of the market running, just beat what you deposited across an entire month. You didn't beat the market. You didn't pick a hot stock. You just didn't quit. The account rewarded that the way a vending machine rewards exact change, reliably, without applause. That shift, watching returns outpace your own input even once, changes how you see the account. It stops being a savings jar. It starts feeling like something alive. But year 5 is still early. The real gut punch doesn't arrive until year 15, when the account does something that honestly should require a permit. Year 15. Your balance sits around $60,000. The account earns roughly $4,200 that year entirely by itself. You put in $1,800. The account put in $4,000. Congratulations, you've been demoted by a pile of money. The pile of money you already built is now outworking you. It doesn't take lunch breaks. It doesn't have a commute. Nobody schedules a performance review with it. This is the tipping point almost no one tells you to watch for. There is a specific year your money overtakes your contributions in earnings. It's year 15. And once that flip happens, it doesn't flip back. Every year from here, the gap between what you put in and what the account earns just keeps getting wider. Which means the stretch from year 15 to year 30 is where you're quietly sitting on something extraordinary without fully realizing it. The main job is, don't touch it. Year 30. Balance. Roughly $227,000. The account earns around $15,000 in a single year. You put in $1,825. By year 30, 1 year of investment returns equals about 8 times your annual contribution. You're basically just showing up for moral support. Now here's the part that actually breaks people's brains. The last 10 years, years 30 through 40, add roughly $297,000 to the pile. $297,000 in 10 years. From a $5 daily habit you set up before your brain could even feel the payoff. You're 55 years old, still putting in $5 a day. Same habit, unchanged. But the account just added more in a single year than it added in your first 7 years combined. Which means quitting at year 25 doesn't cost you the last 15 years. It costs you the most valuable decade in the entire chain. This is why people who say, "I'll start when I have more money," are actually making a decision with a price tag on it. A very specific one. Starting at 35 instead of 25, same $5, same 7%, same 30 years of contributions, produces $185,000. Same $5, same 7%, same discipline, 10 extra years, $339,000 difference, totally fine. Don't worry about it. $339,000 is the cost of waiting a decade. Not a penalty, not a fee, just the price of 10 absent years, paid in future money you never see. The 35-year-old version of you opens that compound interest calculator and sees what the 25-year-old version would have had. It is not a motivational poster. It is a gut punch. The difference isn't double. It's nearly triple. The most expensive thing you own might just be a decade of waiting until the timing felt right. But here is the part nobody puts in the compound interest calculator. Because it doesn't show up in the balance. It shows up in your actual life. You're 52 years old. You have $350,000 in the account. You walk into a salary negotiation with a different face than everyone else in that building. You're not planning to spend the $350. You just walk in wearing the face of someone who could survive not having this job. And somehow, without a word, they can tell. Year 55. A job offer lands. The hiring manager is the kind of person who forwards emails with no context and calls it looping you in. The salary is fine. You pass on it, not recklessness. $380,000 in an account just means fine. No longer has to be enough. Year 58. A relationship that costs more than it gives, emotionally, geographically, logistically, gets a different answer than it would have at 38. The account isn't paying for the decision. It's just making the decision feel less like jumping off a ledge with no idea what's below. That's compounding no calculator measures. Every choice you made at 38 under financial pressure, the apartment you didn't like, the job you couldn't leave, the conversation you softened, gets unmade. That's not a financial outcome. That's a life outcome. And it traces back to a $5 automatic transfer that felt embarrassing for the first 12 months. The $5 didn't buy freedom. It bought the option to choose. Options are the only thing money actually converts into that you can feel every single day. Here's what started the whole chain. Not a windfall, not a raise. A recurring $5 transfer set to fire while you were busy being distracted by everything else. $5 a day is $35 a week. That's one less Saturday takeout order, one less parking garage, one fewer impulse grab at the airport newsstand. You're not cutting a lifestyle. You're redirecting spending that was already invisible to you, the kind you can't even remember making 2 hours after the fact. Willpower doesn't compound. Automation does. That's the whole trick. You're welcome. You set it once, the date, the amount, the destination account. Then you stop deciding. The decision gets made for you every single morning whether you're paying attention or not. Where does the $5 actually go? Into an index fund, which basically means you own a tiny slice of the 500 biggest American companies all at once. When Apple has a good quarter, your $5 benefits. When Walmart has a good quarter, same thing. You're rooting for almost everything simultaneously. The historical return on the S&P 500, that's the index tracking those 500 companies, averages around 10% before inflation, roughly 7% after. That's the 7% we've been using. 7% sounds modest. It does not sound like the number that turns $5 days into $500,000. It is exactly that number. The market drops 20% and it feels like a reason to stop. It is actually a reason to close the app and go do literally anything else. When the market drops 20%, your $5 buys more shares than it did last month. That's not a disaster. That's a discount on the same thing you were already buying. The people who paused their transfers during the 2009 crash, then restarted 3 years later, missed the single greatest recovery decade in market history. Gone. Staying in during a down year is not optimism. It's not bravery. It's understanding that the drop is temporary and your time horizon is 40 years. Back to the year-by-year chain. By year 10, your balance is around $25,000. You contributed $18,250. The rest just appeared. $6,750 appeared because of structure, not hustle. That's a car down payment. That's 3 months of rent in a mid-sized city. By year 20, the balance is around $110,000. You contributed $36,500. The account generated over $73,000 without your involvement. By year 20, the account generated over $73,000 without your involvement, earned entirely through patience and one phone configuration that took 4 minutes. Most people spend more time researching a microwave than they spend setting up the account that eventually builds their financial floor. That is not a compliment to the microwave. The account itself takes 20 minutes to open. Fidelity, Vanguard, Schwab, any major brokerage works. They all have a simple index fund version waiting for you. Search for a total market index fund or an S&P 500 index fund. The expense ratio, the annual fee, should sit below 0.2%. 0.2% means if you have $10,000 in the fund, the fee is $20 a year, less than your streaming subscriptions. Combined, set the recurring contribution to $5 daily or $35 weekly. Same math, slightly easier to track. Then set one calendar reminder to check it annually. The full maintenance schedule is once a year, like changing a smoke detector battery, except somehow this one makes you wealthy. The temptation to check more often will come, especially when the news turns bad, especially when a coworker mentions a stock that tripled last month. Resist this. Your coworker's hot stock that tripled also has a version where it loses 80%. Index funds don't do that. They're boring. Boring is load-bearing here. Speaking of boring, taxes. In a regular brokerage account, your returns get taxed every year. Open a Roth IRA instead, and the $524,000 grows completely tax-free. Tax-free means the $524,000 stays $524,000. You don't hand a slice to the IRS when you withdraw it. All of it is yours. The Roth IRA has a contribution limit, $6,700 per year in 2024, which works out to about $1,835 per day. $5 a day fits inside that easily. If you already have a Roth option through work, that's a Roth 401k, the limit is higher, and your employer might match part of what you put in. That is free money with your name already on it. The employer match is the highest return investment available to a working adult, a 50% instant return, and people are out here skipping it like it's a terms and conditions checkbox. If your employer offers a match and you're skipping it, you're paying for that benefit through your employment and collecting nothing in return. That one has a particular sting to it. Back to the $5 floor. If the employer match isn't available to you, freelancer, gig worker, part-time, the Roth IRA is the move. $5 a day, automated, done. What if the market runs flat for a whole decade? It's happened. The 2000s were basically a lost decade. The S&P returned almost nothing for 10 full years. Here's what happened to someone who kept their $5 transfer running through all of it. They accumulated more shares at depressed prices. Then the 2010s arrived. The 2010s were the greatest bull run in American market history. The people who bought during the flat decade owned shares at the cheapest prices right before the largest run-up ever recorded. You cannot predict which decade goes flat. You can guarantee that stopping buys you none of the recovery. Staying in buys you all of it. Now imagine $5 isn't the ceiling. Imagine year 3, you get a raise. You redirect $20 of it. The rest is still yours? The daily contribution becomes $9. $9 a day at 7% for 40 years is $943,000. You nearly doubled the outcome by adding $4. Not 400. 4. The starting contribution isn't a cap. It's a floor. Every dollar you add on top compounds just as aggressively. The machine doesn't care how much you feed it. It processes everything the same. Most people wait to invest until they feel financially stable, which is, unfortunately, the feeling you get after you've already been investing for 15 years. The order is backwards. The emergency fund question? Yes. Keep 3 to 6 months of expenses in a plain savings account first. That's not either or. That's the foundation the $5 sits on top of. If you carry high-interest credit card debt, anything above 8%, pay that down first. 8% debt costs you more than 7% returns earn you. The math just wins. Once the high-interest debt is gone, the $5 starts. Not after the car is paid off. Not after the student loan clears. After the high-interest credit card, that's the line. Student loans under 5%. Keep them on schedule and invest at the same time. The investment's 7% return beats the loan's 5% cost. You're net positive running both. None of this is complex. It does not require a financial advisor who charges a percentage of your balance to walk you through it over a long lunch you also pay for. Financial advisors charging 1% annually cost you roughly 1/3 of your total portfolio across 40 years. For advice you could replace with a 4-minute app setup. If you want a human in the room, use a fee-only fiduciary. They charge a flat rate, maybe $200 for a consultation, and they're legally required to act in your interest, not theirs. But for $5 a day into a low-cost index fund inside a Roth IRA, you don't need a consultation. You need a phone, 4 minutes, and a password you won't immediately forget. Let's name the specific feeling this creates by year 25. Not rich, not retired, just less afraid of the future than you were. A quiet, specific confidence that shows up in rooms. Not rich, not retired, just less afraid of the future than you were, which turns out to be worth more than the number. The 524,000 isn't the point. The less afraid is the point. The 524,000 is just the mechanism that delivers it. One last number because it earns its place. If you never touch the principal, the 524,000, and withdraw only the interest at 7%, that's $36,000 a year, forever. $36,000 a year from a $5 a day habit. The account keeps growing. You keep drawing. The math doesn't run out before you do. This only works if you start. Not next month when the timing feels cleaner. Not after the holidays. Today, because today's $5 has 40 years to run, and tomorrow's has 39 years and 364 days. The person who started yesterday has one more day of compounding than you do right now. Stop donating days. The chain doesn't start at retirement. It starts at the salary negotiation where you weren't afraid, the lease you didn't sign, the relationship you didn't stay in past its expiration date. $5 didn't buy those moments. It just made sure that when they came, money wasn't the reason you made the wrong call.